One second. Yeah, so I'm gonna pass this over to Darren. Again, thanks for being here tonight. Just one quick ask. If you've attended these before, drop a one in the chat so that we can see who folks are who are returnees, and drop a two if this is your first time here tonight. We'll look for those and gonna pass this to Darren to open us up.
Boom, 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 boom. Welcome back, family. And for the new attendees, welcome to our Echo Black Voices Power and Pathways spaces. I am so happy to be here with our lovely partner, our fiscal sponsor, which we'll get to that in a minute. But thank you all for coming back and expressing your interest and inquiry and learning more about your work as a Black worker. Echo Black Voices is by way of our California Worker Outreach Project, which is all about educating workers, but for us, Black workers, on their rights, and informing them through education, outreach, and engagement. And this is one way we do this with this Echo Black Voices campaign. Of course, we have events, we move policy, and do a lot of great organizing by way of Echo Black Voices. But this series is our monthly series, the monthly series you can depend on to come in and get some education from some amazing partners like the different Black worker centers that we're a part of, and other Black led organizations that we collaborate with in the community. Um, we can't do any of this without our partners. So again, we're the hub, but our state agency partners consist of folks like the Department of Industrial Relations, LCO, the Division of Workers' Compensation, Civil Rights Department. That's for some reason, I don't know why it never makes it here, but I'm gonna make sure it makes it there on the list for next month. Um, Cal, OSHA, and a plethora of other people in the state that we collaborate with. And of course, we can't do this without our CWAP partners. So we got all of the Black Worker Centers. So we got a center here in LA, one in Long Beach, one in High Desert, one in Inland Empire, next door, down the street, whatever. And then we also have the other Black led organizations that we also work with on a regular, like Black Women for Wellness, the UCLA Care Department, the Six, and a ton of other CBOs that we're spreading out intentionally this year to make sure that we touch all Black people, not just some. So we don't keep this specific to the centers. It's all Black led organizations that we want to work with that are, of course, in alignment with us, because some we gotta get everybody on the right page. But yes. But without further ado, we have some special guests um, in the building. The reason for the season, as I like to say, the Los Angeles Black Worker Center and their Ready to Work programmatic department. They're going to come in here and talk to us a little bit about different career pathways, leadership development, and overall job readiness. So, without further ado, I want to turn it over to Na'Desha so Na'Desha can introduce her team and we can get this thing rocking and rolling. And watch out for the chat too, by the way, y'all, because we're going to be dropping a lot of resources and important links throughout the night. So, yeah, without further ado, Na'Desha, the team,
Wow.
Sarah, all y'all take away. Do y'all think?
Thank you so much, Darren. That was amazing. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Like Darren said, my name is Na'Desha. I serve as the Ready to Work Program Coordinator here at the LA Black Worker Center, and I'm honored to be here today and be part of this work. Slide two. Okay, the next one. Okay, there we go. Awesome. I'm joined here today by my incredible team, Angela Cox, who is the Ready to Work Program Specialist, Tara Perkins, who is Ready to Work Program Specialist and head of the Stewards Council, and Osmond, Job Placement Specialist. We are the Leaders on the Rise team here at Ready to Work. We are servicing boot camp applicants aged 25 and older, and together we support participants through workforce training, leadership development, and employment preparation. Today, you're going to hear about who we are as the LA Black Worker Center, the broader context of the Black jobs crisis, and how we directly inform the Ready to Work program into integrated placement. We're going to walk you through how we prepare participants, not just for employment, but for leadership, retention, and long-term career mobility. You're also going to hear about our placement strategies, systemic barriers, our graduate space, and why policy advocacy, like charter reform, is so important. So to ground you in this, our organization is going to give you Angela now. Next slide. And here's Angela.
Thank you, Na'Desha. Thank you all for being here. Once again, I am Angela. Appreciate you being here tonight. To begin, I just wanted to share a little bit about the Los Angeles Black Worker Center. The LABWC was established in 2011, emerging out of research conducted by the UCLA Labor Center that documented severe disparities Black workers faced in Los Angeles. We are proud to be the first Black Worker Center in California. At our core, we are member-led, meaning that the workers most impacted by inequity help shape our work, our priorities, and our solutions. Next slide, please. Thank you. Our mission is to create a world where Black workers thrive in equitable economy, one that sustains families, strengthens communities, and creates real opportunities. Our work focuses on building Black worker power. That means increasing access to quality jobs, addressing employment discrimination, and transforming industries that employ Black workers so they are more equitable and sustainable long-term. So to understand why our work is necessary, it's important we talk about what we call the Black jobs crisis. This crisis is not new. It's the result of centuries of systemic and structural barriers that have limited access to opportunities for Black workers. These inequalities are rooted in historical and institutional practices that continue shaping hiring, wages, career advancement, and job stability today. Because of this, the Black jobs crisis is not temporary, it's chronic. It shows up consistently across industries and across generations. So, go back for me, please. So, how it shows up. We see how the Black job crisis shows up. We see the impact through higher unemployment rates, lower wages, and occupational segregation. We also see disparities in access to education, training, ongoing discrimination in hiring and promotion, and barriers in entrepreneurship when it's time for us to get those loans, right? During the pandemic, also 85% of Black workers in California experienced unemployment. This exposed how vulnerable Black workers remain during economic shifts. These challenges are intersectional and compound by additional barriers, including gender, age, justice involvement, and access to resources. And that's why the Ready to Work program is so vital and important. Thank you. So, Ready to Work is our workforce development and leadership program, and it creates pathways to high-road careers for Black workers. What makes our program unique is that we don't just focus on job readiness. We focus on worker readiness, leadership, long-term retention, and wellness for the whole individual. Through political education, mentorship, retention, and wellness for the whole individual. Through political education, mentorship, leadership development, and occupational training, we equip workers not only to secure employment, but to navigate and succeed in workspaces and places that have not historically been inclusive to us. We partner with employers to create clear pathways to gainful employment after completion of the program. A little later on, Oz is going to speak more about placement and some of the challenges and how we're actively addressing them. So currently we work with a holistic approach, and this is our current model. It's built around four key pillars. We start with career readiness. That's things like practical skills, industry knowledge, and professional preparation. We also look at retention strategies, inoculation. We want to prepare our workers to navigate discrimination, biases, workplace challenges, and operate within their designated roles with self-advocacy and knowledge. change. We also look at leadership development because we have a lot of leaders in our community. So we want to look at building confidence, accountability, also advocacy skills. And then finally, we look at wellness, supporting the whole person because stability definitely impacts success. Our goal is not just placement, it's stability, advancement, as well as empowerment. So our program structure, participants will be completing a 5 to 7 week job readiness program. Is designed to prepare them for, once again, long-term career success. We do have a few requirements. So you need to be 18 years of age or older, a valid driver's license, high school diploma, GED. These are requirements that most jobs are asking for. And the training includes soft skill development, Microsoft training, OSHA certification, political education, leadership development. You get networking opportunities, and we also offer wraparound services. So, importantly, participants will be receiving peer and retention support through our Stewards Council. It's not just a classroom experience that they will be getting, it's a structured pathway, and it prepares individuals not only to secure employment, but to sustain and grow their careers. We are not a direct staffing agency. Our focus is on employment preparation, skill development, and equipping participants with the tools and confidence to compete successfully in today's workforce, because it's a lot different from the past. Participants do receive specialized workforce navigation training, mentorship from industry professionals, and education on how to navigate various employment structures. One of the most important components of this structure is our Stewards Council, which it provides ongoing leadership development and peer support beyond the initial training period. So what does that process look like? They also will be receiving leadership training, and that training is rooted in cultural competency and emotional intelligence. It helps them build confidence for their long-term career so they can be resilient in that. We have seen so much of an influx in our graduates' confidence with things like public speaking, communication, overall wholeness and wellness while they're in our program, with their time with us and after, because we do work on that follow-up with them. This support continues beyond graduation. We stay connected to ensure that participants have the tools they need so that we can support them as they move forward, okay? With that, I want to thank you for your time. I'd like now to transition to Tara, who will share more about the Stewards Council and what that represents and why it's such a critical part of our model.
Hello, everybody. I'm excited to share what the Stewards Council Committee represents and why it's so important to the work we do. The Stewards Council Committee is, at its core, a leadership development space for Black workers. It is designed to build confident, informed, and courageous leaders who can advocate for themselves and for others in the workplace. We understand that leadership is not about titles, it's about responsibility, integrity, and the willingness to stand up when something is not right. We are creating leadership capacity. Being a steward means learning how to listen deeply, how to access workplace concerns, how to communicate clearly, and how to take strategic action. It means developing the confidence to speak up in meetings, to support a colleague in crisis, and to connect workers to the right resources. Leadership development in this space is practical, hands-on, and rooted in real-life workplace experiences. Now, you can go back to the other slide. Yeah, go back. Okay, thank you. We focus heavily on education and skill building. The committee hosts workshops and trainings on topics such as wage and hour laws, know your rights, racism, discrimination, anti-Blackness violations, and other critical issues that impact Black workers in the workplace. When workers understand their rights and understand how systems operate, they are better equipped to protect themselves and advocate effectively for their community. The goal is for stewards to share this information with their family, friends, fellow coworkers in the community, and we want them to be able to provide guidance in identifying, creating, and navigating workplace claims. Some of the agencies that have presented for the council are the California Civil and Human Rights Department, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, and the University of California, Los Angeles, along with the Labor Commission. Just a brief note on the impact of the Stewards Council. One of our steward leaders had their discrimination claim expedited, successfully resolved, and he was awarded a settlement with the EEOC after making a connection with the agency during one of our trainings. One of the most powerful aspects of the Stewards Council is peer support. We intentionally create spaces where Black workers can share their experience, ask questions, and seek guidance without fear of judgment and retaliation. Many workers face challenges, and too often they face these challenges alone. The Steward Council changes that. It reminds our members that they are not alone and that there is a community ready to support them. The Stewards Council meets monthly. These meetings are not just check-ins, they are intentional spaces for growth, accountability, and strategy. We strengthen relationships, sharpen our skills, and continue to build collective power. Each meeting helps us move from individual concern to collective action. I'm going to transition to Oz, our job placement specialist, who will walk you through how to support graduates in navigating barriers and preparing for sustainable careers. And you can go to the next slide.
Thank you, Ms. Tara. Elevated evening to you folks on this last week of what has historically been Black History Month, but as we all know, Black history is written every day, so it's always Black History Month. Now that we've shared the broader context of the Black jobs crisis, who we are as an organization, and how the Ready to Work program prepares and supports Black workers, the next step will be understanding how this translates into real career pathways and employment outcomes. Thank you. Placement at Ready to Work is the starting line. By no means is it the finish line. Our role is to prepare graduates to pursue and secure employment while providing ongoing support as they navigate hiring systems and workplace advancement. Graduates are placed on career tracks that support both short-term and long-term employment goals. We are actively developing new employer pipelines while also advocating within existing systems, appealing decisions, challenging unfair screening practices, and pushing back on barriers that delay access to opportunity. This includes supporting successful appeals, addressing wage increases, navigating pre-employment screening practices, and advocating against exclusionary hiring systems. We also believe in cyclical opportunity. Our alumni referrals bring in new talent and create a network effect where the graduates open doors for future cohorts through networking events, employer relationships, community connections. Opportunity circulates back into the community. In addition to employment pathways, we also focus on mobility and independence. Through our Claim the Lane CDL program, 4 graduates have earned their commercial driver's licenses this year. And that's a big deal, y'all. That's a major milestone that opens access to stable, high-demand careers. Through our youth driver's licensing program, 6 youth participants aged 18 to 24 were enrolled to obtain their driver's licenses, and that's it. That's freeing, right? Liberating. It supports independence, mobility, access to work, and education. These are life-changing steps. They expand access to everything. Jobs, training, long-term opportunity, and we're proud of the individual successes that reflect that work. Just some examples. One of them, this gentleman y'all see on your left in your screen, Carvel Montgomery, James Samaje Johnson, one of our graduates as well. They were recently hired with LA Metro, transit ambassadors and bus operators. Their success reflects not only their dedication and persistence, but also the strength of the preparation they received and the employer partnerships we continue to build, especially with employers who believe in second chances and equitable opportunity. Success in placement is not just about securing employment. It's about mobility, wage progression, advocacy, and long-term career sustainability. And while we're proud of the progress our graduates make, we would not be transparent if we didn't acknowledge that the path is not always straightforward. Many of the individuals we serve are navigating systems that were not designed with equity in mind. Even after completing training and becoming fully job ready, barriers still exist. That's why our work does not stop at preparation. It extends into advocacy, system navigation, and structural change. Many Ready to Work graduates face structural barriers, particularly those who are justice impacted folks, while also navigating transportation barriers, childcare, economic stability, life. Even after completing training and becoming job ready, they encounter outdated hiring systems that delay or block access to public sector employment. While the challenges are clear, our impact is also clear, folks. We provide advocacy, appeal support, background clearance guidance, and strategic navigation so graduates are not facing these systems alone. And while we work to support individuals in navigating these systems, we also recognize that some of the barriers are not personal, they are in fact structural. This is why our work extends beyond workforce preparation and into policy advocacy. To create real, long-term access to opportunity, we must also address the systems that create unnecessary obstacles in the first place. Now I'm going to transition back over to Ms. Tara, who will share how the charter reform is directly connected to expanding equitable pathways into public sector careers.
Okay, thank you, Oz. The City of Los Angeles civil service system is nearly 100 years old and continues to rely on rigid testing structures, limited exam access, and slow hiring timelines that create real barriers for qualified candidates. For many Black workers, particularly those seeking public sector careers, these outdated systems can limit or block access to stable, long-term employment. This is why charter reform matters. The next critical moment at the Charter Reform Commission meeting is on March 5th at Los Angeles City Hall. At this meeting, we will learn whether the committee has accepted the recommendations we have put forward to reform the city's charter and modernize the civil service process. This is our opportunity to demonstrate that our community is engaged, informed, and ready for change. By showing up and standing together, we send a clear message. Black workers are prepared now, and the systems that govern public employment must evolve to reflect that readiness. Through collective advocacy, we can help remove outdated barriers and ensure equitable access pathways into quality public sector jobs. I'm going to hand it back to Na'Desha now to close this out. But we need you out with us to support charter reform at City Hall, March 5th at 4, okay? So thank you.
Tara, thank you so much for all of that. The entire team, Oz, Angela. Yes, this is what it looks like when we stand together. This is us at City Hall. We're at one of the charter reform meetings. So you understand what's happening, right? Charter reform. So we do want to run our boot camp. We are running our boot camp. We are promoting job readiness. But we want jobs at the finish line of the boot camp. And while we're working on career pathways, we want sustainable careers. And there are systems in place that are making it a lot harder. So what we're trying to do is support charter reform. Charter reform is going to make it easier for us to get access to these jobs that we've been talking about, y'all. So we want you to pull up, show up March 5th at City Hall, 4 p.m. For these meetings, okay? So they can see that there are workers of color that are looking for careers, and we're tired of the outdated system. So I know that was a lot of information. You heard about our program, systemic barriers that graduates face, and policy advocacy, and why it's so important. So if you are seeking workforce training, skills development, leadership growth, and a strong sense of community, please consider joining us. And while our next boot camp isn't until the fall, we do encourage you to get connected now. You can register early as space is limited. Become a member of the LA Black Worker Center, and please get involved with charter reform. And if you can't show up to the meeting, there is a link that we could drop. We do have it on the agenda so that you could at least post a public comment, okay? And this doesn't mean that because you're a part of this meeting, you can just show up, to charter reform. Yes, you can. People that are in your family, your friends, anybody can show up. Anybody can pull up to City Hall, March the 5th, 4 p.m. to support charter reform. You don't have to be part of this conversation, okay? For individuals that are 18 to 24, we also offer a youth program specifically designed to support youth adults entering the workforce. And this cohort is also going to focus on foundational job readiness skills and leadership development, okay? And I think the next slide is going to show you how you can take the next step. Yes, how to get involved is right here. Next slide. Fantastic. You can take a snapshot of that. I'm not sure if we're going to send this slide to folks who provided their email address, but if you want to apply for the Ready to Work program or the Youth Academy, you can do so. The contact information is there. If you want to refer someone who would benefit, contact information is there. Connect directly with our team. Again, contact info is there, or join us in our advocacy and organizing efforts, especially charter reform. It is right there. And we're here to support you in preparing for the workforce, strengthening your skills, and exercising your power as a worker. Okay, so again, come down March 5th, City Hall. What time? 4 p.m. So we can stand together. Okay. Let's see. Next slide. What do we got? Yes, that's the information again. Again, take a picture, snapshot, whatever y'all do on the phones now to make sure you have all the information. That is City Hall, March 5th, 4 p.m. Anyone can show up to support this cause. Now we're going to open up to questions. Let us know if you have any questions.
I'll help moderate with the chat as well, because I see there
I appreciate that.
Of course, there was Joshua. Joshua, you had a question. You said, can you speak a little bit more about what some of the outdated barriers are that y'all identify, especially or tactically anti-Black?
Oh, goodness. So I'm going to mention one and then I'll pass it over to Oz, but I do know that there are a few individuals that just recently tried to apply to city work in a specific area. Let's just say that it was mechanical area, and they were giving them questions that had nothing to do with that position. So what's that going to do, right? What that's going to do is kind of put them further down on the list for employment because they didn't pass that portion. It's like if I'm applying for this, I should be testing for this, right? And that's not just one example. There's many examples of how that happens within testing. Oz, do you have any additional examples?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Na'Desha. A good starting point is none of this was made with Black folks in mind, right? None of this was made with people of color in mind in general. Civil service and testing exam structures are just standardized written exams that don't measure real job readiness, lived experiences. They prioritize academic language, test taking skills over the practical competencies, as Na'Desha was just saying. Limited exam dates too, things like that, folks, have a great impact. You're supposed to arrange, again, those transportation issues, childcare issues, things like that, right? So just exam dates are limited. There's bottlenecks already, and you're having to navigate that. The historical biases in the testing designs, just huge, huge barriers that disproportionately filter out Black applicants. Background check and justice system inclusion is just automatic or discretionary disqualification, right? There's instances where now we obviously encourage folks to not even list an address, just the city and the state, no zip codes, things as simple as that on resumes. Automatic disqualifiers for no reason whatsoever, right? There's no clear or transparent criteria. The case-by-case review process allows bias to influence decisions, right? So that's why we're advocating for charter reform, just fail to account for rehab, time past, or job, just these barriers. One of the most impactful statements I've heard, it was one of our graduates was successfully placed now and selling, doing exceptionally well, has completed their probationary period, and is one of the folks that we were able to get, hired with the city. Asked me something, this is a person with, a little something on their record previously, was 40 something years ago, y'all. And, when we were going through the appeals process, it was real vulnerable and said, how long do I have to keep paying for this? And he knew that I didn't have an answer for that. And he wasn't looking for an answer. There was no answer. But that's, this is a completely different person. We're dealing with folks that may have, experienced some, justice related issues at 17, 18, who are now in their mid 50s, that completely different individual. We're trying to advocate for folks like this too, slow bureaucratic hiring timelines as well. Candidates with fewer financial resources can't wait without that income, right? There's limited access to information and navigation support. Shout out to Miss Tara, who puts on hiring blitzes for folks to come into the center and actually use our tech and be able to apply. Um, things that most people take for granted, right? Just access to Wi-Fi, access to laptops, you know, nepotism and informal networks. That's a whole other thing as well, right? Just try to crack into public sector jobs from the outside looking in. A lot of times, posts are advertised, but they already know who they're going to than, prior than even posting, right? They already knew. Just for legality purposes, those things exist. Yeah, I mean, I'd be happy to, keep going. Believe me, all these things disproportionately affect Black workers at just disproportionately affect Black workers, like ridiculously disproportionately affect. And that's ridiculous because the talent exists, our training exists, the readiness exists, but the structural hiring systems are the ones that are blocking the entry. And yeah, these civil service exams were built 100 years ago, just policies that appear race neutral actually produce really racially, disparate outcomes. If you'd like to expand more, I'd be happy to go ahead. You send me an email, text, or call, and we can go into absolutely more detail. I don't want to take up more space from folks because I can keep going.
Joshua, did that answer your question?
It absolutely does, y'all. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely gonna reach out to y'all via email to keep the conversation going. I just as context, I support I work in partnership with UCLA Care, work in partnership with the LCO, and yeah, and just do a lot of restorative work in the like anti-blackness space. And so yeah, always interested in collaborating, but definitely interested in continuing this conversation.
Looking
Awesome,
forward
Joshua.
to
Please
it.
drop your information. If we don't have your email, let us know how we can get a hold of you, okay?
Sure thing.
Awesome. Additional questions. We are ready for your questions. Well, Oz is ready. Come on, give us more.
Na'Desha, can you just reiterate when the next class will take place? Did you say?
Mm-hmm. So both the 25 and older and youth are going to start in the fall. They'll start in the fall. So we are accepting applications now. We'd love to have applications early. And I know the youth coordinator is on the call, but she is driving. But I'm pretty sure she'd be interested to hear how many folks are interested in the youth cohort as well. So yeah, anyone who still needs the contact info, there is a slide for contact info. I don't know if you want to move the slides again, Darren, so folks can see it. It should be right after. I think I put it twice. That's charter reform. Yeah. Oh, this is a really good question here. There's contact info. What brought us to this work? I can start. I did work for a lot of different agencies, a lot of different schools I was in job placement. And the school had different folks of different colors. But I was told to only place certain people. And after doing that for so many years, that did start to bother me. So I went to the owner of the last place I worked and I had a suggestion. And they rejected my suggestion. And I believe it was because I was trying to advocate for the Black graduates. So after that, I decided to move on. So that's what brought me to this work because it was decades and decades of dealing with employers that I knew didn't have us in mind. Angela, would you like to share a story about what brought you to this work?
Definitely. Just working in corporate America long enough, and not seeing enough of me being able to truly be me, like having to be in a box, and not being able to express and explore, my true self. I think that was like the turning point for me just not being able to really be me in the workspace, having to stifle my ideas or not being able to truly be like, okay, this is how I feel, or this is what I want to bring to the table, or this isn't a true idea. That just wasn't fun for me. And I wanted to be able to help other people be themselves more around me while I'm trying to discover me. So that's what brought me to this work. I can pass it.
You want me? I go. Um, I have a degree in public health, and knowing that being able to financially sustain yourself is one of the social determinants of health. That's one of the reasons that I am in this work. And also, I think the question also was, what do you want to see for the hopes uh, in Black future? I want to see Black people thrive and be able to take care of their families and build community with one another. And that's my okay.
What brought you here to this work?
I mean, honestly, first and foremost, we're Black workers ourselves, right? And I come from HR, employer relations background, and just underrepresented in every statistic that you'd want to be represented in, and overrepresented in every statistic that you don't want to be represented in, right? And that's got to be systematic, right? It can't be a coincidence. So just tackling it, one thing at a time, really, but just like that's it. Get up and do something. Get up and do something. That was a big part of it. I have the privilege of working with some of the most dedicated folks I've ever gotten, to meet in my life, and just walking with a purpose, moving with a purpose, right? So yeah, that's it.
Amazing. Again, the contact information is here. Please get involved. If you know anyone who's interested in our cause, charter reform, becoming a member, becoming part of one of the Ready to Work boot camps, please give them our contact information. Um, yeah, as you can see, we're very passionate about our work here, and we don't get a lot of opportunities to showcase what we do and what we offer. So it's really important that you share this information. And it's also amazing that you actually showed up here today. We do understand that with everything happening, in the world, you didn't have to show up, and you did. So thank you so much for doing that. Um, the team have anything that they wanted to say before we close out?
Thank you all for your time. Please get involved. Y'all reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you. We really would. Um, Again, like just with our graduates, right? The end of the presentation is not the end. It's only the beginning. Please become a member. Just reach out to us and we'll make sure you're taken care of.
Echoing what my team said, what we do isn't necessarily hard work, I say, but it is hard work. We truly do care about these individuals. Like I said, please become a member. We love what we do. So if you know anyone who is in need of community, please send them our way. We are loving, we are warm, we are welcoming. So please send them our way. And just thank you so much for being here. You could have been anywhere in the world, like Na'Desha said, but you're here with us. Come join the winning team. Thank you.
And I just want to say thank you. And I'm just going to repeat this again. I want to see everyone at Charter Reform next Thursday, March 5th at 4 p.m. And I really want to thank you for having us tonight.
Hey, I have a question for y'all. Well, I have two questions and then yeah, two. One is there a way for folks, is there any like sign up? Is there any survey? Is there any content that we want to invite people to participate in now while Core, Darash, Joshua, Carolyn are with us? And do you guys want to have like we want to, we know there's a lot going on right now. The barriers that we've been dealing with historically are even more heightened during this, attack on on our country, frankly, right? With this kind of fascist authoritarian takeover going on. And so we've been wanting to invite our folks into conversations around what does protection during this time, protection, solidarity, and care for Black workers in our communities look like at the moment? What are things we could be doing proactively, like showing up for policy change, things like charter change? But what else, right? Where we're not just reacting to things, but ways that we can be proactive, and then individually, um, and collectively, how we're protecting uh, our folks. And last thing for to say, yeah, and just building like forms of safety within our communities and our workplaces. So we were going to do like just maybe two little breakout groups. I wanted to see if y'all wanted to stay in with Cord, DeRoss, Carolyn, and Joshua too. And if not, all good, but just wanted to make the ask.
I think it's really important. Let's do it.
Okay, Darren, you want to drop the questions in the chat right quick?
Yeah, I can do that. I got you ready.
Okay. So, let's see. I'm going to open up the rooms. If there are any mix-ups, I don't usually do the room breakouts. So if there's any mix-ups or anything wacko, just come back and I'll straighten it out. We'll just take about like 10 minutes or so and come back and bring back what you guys shared together or anything that you came up with. Okay, you should be able to either see yep, okay, great.
I'm gonna stop recording or pause the recording for this.
Okay. Yeah, so welcome back. Yeah, so these questions around like given the barriers to employment, the historic ones, and particularly under these current federal attacks on our country and on our working class, what y'all talk about with regards to, how are we protecting ourselves and building solidarity for our communities? What can we be doing more proactively, not just being reactionary? And yeah, what are ways that we're building safety in our community, in our work, in our home? We have time, so don't feel rushed.
Yeah, I had such an amazing group. Carolyn and Core, both in tandem with one another, talked about not only building safe spaces, for workers to know their rights, but also being in community. And if those two things work together, then obviously we're sharing information, right? Once we're sharing information, we're making each other safe. Yeah, learned a lot in the session. And Carolyn, Core, if you wanted to come off mute and talk about anything part of the discussion.
Sure, why not? This was actually kind of off topic, but the topic is that we're kind of in a portal right now. There was a solar eclipse on February 17th, and on February 17th, there was a conjunction of 7 different calendars all on the same day. So there was the Jewish Rosh Chodesh Adar calendar, there was Lent, Ramadan, Chinese New Year, Tibetan New Year, the birthday of the founder of Nichiren Buddhism. And the Mayan calendar had 13 Kame, which is like 13 is like the pinnacle day where the spiritual and the physical realm is like the veil in between are super thin or the thinnest. And the Kame is like the death, rebirth phase cycle. And then on February 20th was Saturn Neptune conjunction, which is actually the alpha point of the entire zodiac. So that the clock reset for the entire zodiac. And what that means is that we are now in a new epoch. There's a whole new eon for humanity. So what we're seeing right now is actually birthing pains. So maintain peace, love, joy, forgiveness, and unity in this period that they are trying to sow terror and fear and hate. And by us holding this vibration, it will elevate humanity into a higher vibration. And it is more important for people that look like us, the melanated people, because we already know that melanin is a transmitter for spiritual information. And so, because of that, it is more important for us to maintain these vibrations of peace, love, and joy. And oh, and today is actually Mercury retrograde. So for the next like month until April 11th, don't actually implement anything. For right now, what you do is you ask for the revelations, for the information to reveal itself. Take time to like regroup and reformulate what any plans you may have been having for implementing things over the next month or so until Mercury goes direct. And I'm complete.
Come on, Cora, with the full reading. Ashe.
Yeah,
Ashe.
just to add what Cora was saying as we were actually leaving out of our session, talking about making sure that just as people we're grounded as individuals and walking in peace and making time for yourself. And I think that's also important. And the work that we're doing as we're like we just had a couple of events and realizing just how heavy some of the things that people are going through is and making sure that we're healthy to be able to assist. So that was good as well.
Indeed. Nice. Other group, Joshua, DeRoz.
I do see a common theme that keeps coming up, y'all. It's information. Like, in our group, we were discussing what arming ourselves means. We feel like we need to arm ourselves, and we don't know entirely what that looks like, right? But I guess we absolutely have to arm ourselves. You know what I mean? Make sure we're using the right weapon. Knowledge is a weapon. Community and unity are definitely weapons, right? And you know, yeah, we got to protect ourselves, right? Like all the folks on this call have talked about sticking together, right? Again, unity and like strength in numbers, information. We got to counter the so-called misinformation, right? It's used to just call lies, you know what I mean? Like this whole misinformation, alternative fact nonsense. Like that's not, what does that mean? You know? So just combat it. Don't let a word like go. It just this ignorance is what got us into these situations, right? So just hey,
Yeah, and
word for word.
the systems that play on that ignorance. I love that you're talking about how we're arming ourselves. You mentioned knowledge, being in community and holding unity is a part of that armory. And I've been in some conversations around mutual aid. And I know for me, I don't know about for you guys, but I often think about mutual aid as like providing some service, right? Like a direct service to a direct need, like food and clothes and, maybe even jobs, right? It's a service, but really it's just a practice of arming what you just said, right? It's a practice of being in that, establishing our networks, sharing knowledge, being in community, deepening our unity, right? So that we're more powerful together when all the things hit the fan every time they hit the fan. So it's that practice of armory. So it's like mutual aid, not just feeding people, but feeding our minds, our collectivity, our unity. So yeah, love that. I think there was one more group.
Yeah, it was. I'll go. Angela is away, so I'll represent us. Pleasure speaking with Angela as well. Very much enjoyed the conversation. We sort of kind of took sort of all three, honestly, and the first question really leading up to the three kind of all together. We were speaking about, ways of, importance of collaborating and almost like organizing ourselves like our recent ancestors have done throughout, our times of facing, fascism and facing just um, this sort of thick oppression that's sort of just, has shaped all of our lives as Black folks, but eventually bleeds into the lives of everyone else as they slowly realize what we've been trying to tell them for all this time. But with respect to this work, we talked about how anti-Blackness at work, in workplaces, in both public sectors, private sectors, nonprofit sectors, right, is a chronic problem and a problem that like we don't have a lot of language, universally to really address and talk about. It seems like language to that sticks with non-Black folks, right? And I'm not trying to say appealing to non-Black folks. I'm really trying to say kind of narrative design here, right? And sort of narrative work might be kind of one of the things that we can do proactively, not just reactively, right? I think, the ice rays in particular and how folks are responding to that is a great example of reacting to crisis, right? It's not a good example of being proactive. I mean, what the community has done in response, right? That kind of mutual aid, community protection, community safety, and communication, that has been proactive, a little more than the reactive aspect. But in terms of dealing with and addressing anti-Blackness at work in our workplaces, and also in the in access, like y'all were mentioning, the barriers to even getting the interview, the barriers to getting past the interview, the barriers if you're in construction or the trades to even getting hired, right? If you're even in a union to getting hired, right? Just the numerous obstacles that we face, even in addressing racial and intersectional discrimination, right? Like just all the barriers there, right? So we're kind of talking about honestly, I'll just say this to you all on this call. Like I'm looking forward to working with y'all and collaborating with you. I've mentioned this before, but I do consulting work. I consult with UCLA Care and the Labor Center, and I also consult with the Labor Commissioner's Office on some work. And I another part of my work is specifically focused on anti-Blackness because uh, that's what I did in education for a number of years, and just sort of honestly have had enough experiences with experiencing anti-Blackness and witnessing it and the debilitation of it all, to get to this point of like, all right, it's time to um, kind of move on from education and focus on, the things that are impacting my lives, my friends, and the people
Yeah.
I love, which is Black people who are Black people, not which, who are Black people.
Joshua,
Um,
where are you based?
I'm based in Baldwin Hills, South LA,
Okay.
Crenshaw. Yeah.
So you already a friend of the LABWC?
I am a friend of LABWC. I'm trying to be a closer friend.
Okay, got it. And then Core, where are you from, Core? You also in LA?
I'm in NoHo.
Okay, LA area.
Yeah, I'm from New Jersey though.
Okay, got it. I was just trying to fill out if it was IE area or not. Okay.
So yeah, thank you for stopping me because it would have gone on. It's late, so the words just come out in the midnight oil.
Yeah, I feel like that's when we're the realists too. I'm glad you guys are local. I'm hoping you're able to come out to the charter hearing at the Public Works Department on March 5th at 4 o'clock. I hope you both are able to join and bring a comrade, bring a friend, bring a neighbor, bring somebody with you. Do not come alone. We're glad you guys were able to get on tonight. Darren and Tyra and I, we stayed together, and we realized that we missed a chunk of emails that needed to go out. So last month, and last year was a different flow of people, and it was a bunch of people. But I think it's because our events were co-hosted by partners, and in a different way. That was like coordinated way ahead of time, but. And so we're missing a chunk of people. So just wanting to acknowledge that. But glad that this could be a little more intimate, had some deeper conversation tonight. And again, so are y'all planning to come on the 5th?
I'll be out of town.
And so who are you sending in your place?
That's a great question. I'm working out the list in my head.
Got you, Corey. Joshua, you joining us?
I won't be able to make it either. I have a meeting. I'm a CASA volunteer as well, so I have a meeting with the foster youth that I mentor
Got it.
around
Okay.
that time. But also I'm gonna share with my network.
I had to support with a little organizing attempt.
Of
So,
course, of
Of
course,
course.
of course. Wouldn't
all
expect
right.
anything less.
Yeah, so I hope that this has been fruitful and shareable with you guys as folks. This will be on the Hub website. We will share this out in emails to other folks. So just appreciate y'all for being here. Appreciating the Ready to Work team and squad for joining us tonight. I feel like we're complete unless there are any other questions, offerings. And we actually have 10 minutes to get back tonight. Darren, are we good?
We're good. Shameless plug. We will be back here next month, March 25th. So be on the lookout. Yeah, we'll have